Welcome in.
Back with another episode. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Episode, 13, I think. Yeah, lucky
13.
number 13. Happy Monday. It's Monday. It feels like Monday.
I woke up feeling pretty good on a Monday, too.
Did you? I didn't. I didn't feel, I didn't feel bad. I'm a little bland today.
Yeah.
Yesterday was a comp class, so I'm a little drained.
Usually I'm like a 5:45 wake up, and then I go back to sleep for like another 20, 30 minutes, depending on where I'm located. I have several locations at this point.
Yeah, you do.
My own home, whether it's my mom's home, and it's all very dependent on where I'm doing business. So like if I need to do something down south, like I'm probably gonna be by my mom's or my girl's crib, and like depending on how I wake up, will usually be like, that's kind of the space I'm in. Like usually if I'm in a comfortable space, I'll get out of the house by like 7:30, 8 o'clock. If I'm not in a comfortable space, I'm usually out the door. Like I want to get out.
You're right out of it.
I want to be
I'm
out.
with you.
And even in comfortable spaces, like depending on how I wake up, I'm usually like, I want to get this day going. So
Yeah.
today I woke up like 5:15.
Woke up on fire today.
And I was ready to roll. I was like, okay, like I'm on my phone right now. I'm reading some affirmations. I woke up pretty intense. And,
Do you go no phone when you wake up? I've heard there's a lot of benefits to it.
Yeah, I think there is a lot of benefits to it, and I do not. I think I should, though. And I've tried, and there's times, when you try stuff and it works and you still don't just like continue to go through with it. Yeah. It's a habitual thing, and I think that it's really hard because there's so many. It's interesting you say that because I think that there's so many habits to break, and there's so many good ones that don't, and there's so many ones that don't necessarily hurt you in the majority of the sense. Like for me, like waking up with my phone, I could see how it could be detrimental and like in a long term thing, but like in at least my initial state when I wake up, it doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
But I could see how it could be beneficial if you just didn't do it. Like,
yeah.
I've done it and I was like, yeah, I feel good today. And I've done it where I woke up with my phone and I felt fine that day. So
yeah, I'm really trying to go no phone when I wake up and immediately go outside to see.
Is that a habit? What are some of the habits you're trying to break that aren't necessarily bad habits, but you want to make better ones?
That would be the number one. I think it was Andrew Huberman that did like a whole podcast on like the benefits of the sun and not seeing your phone when you wake up.
Correct.
So that's my number one right now, is trying to wake up, not really see my phone and go right outside. Okay. And usually I'm up before the sun, so I don't know how that works. Like Andrew Huberman's like, go see the sun, but what if the sun's not up?
Specifically in this time, right, where you're heading toward the winter, where between 5:15 to 7 a.m. it's dark. Like it's dark.
Sunrise is like 7 a.m. now. So
yeah, and it's going getting further away. Like it's going to be like 8.
Yeah,
eventually.
so I don't know if that makes a big difference, but I still try and go outside first thing. Mm-hmm. He said as much skin to the sun as possible, so I just go no shirt outside, and it's a little brisk, so it gets you alive. It wakes you up a little bit.
Yeah,
so that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to do that every morning, and I've been successful with it, and I feel better. I mean, not like detrimentally better, but you feel a little difference.
Yeah,
maybe it's placebo.
It's not as significant as you may see, but I think that's where the long-term effects of it have to start happening for you. Like, how long can you go outside there with no shirt on to then feel the sun or get your skin into the weather and the elements? I'm sure that's probably fantastic.
Yeah, I'll try and stick with it long term and see.
Everything feels really good the first couple times you do it, and then just being that consistency, creating that consistency level is not easy. But no, I do like that. Okay, yeah, I mean, I gotta start probably adding that into my routine. It's funny. I like the nighttime. Nighttime morning drives.
Oh yeah,
are incredible,
unmatched.
Love
Absolutely
it.
The best.
Nobody on the road. Just like it's like 5:30, 6 a.m. Like that's a nice drive.
Yeah.
I'm personally I like that because I like what I do. But like I could see how someone could hate that drive.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I love it. 6 a.m. Jiu-jitsu classes, driving down the highway in the winter when it's dark out.
It's nice.
Unmatched feeling.
It's nice.
I love it.
Sun's trying to peak.
Yeah,
it's trying to peak out.
It's trying, but
nice.
I'll take those drives every day.
Yes, no, I'll take those drives all the time. I got to take one tomorrow again. But like, you just love it, man. It's a part of. It becomes a part of how you kind of like exist in a way. It's like, I like that. You feel like you're ahead of everyone. You feel like you're ahead of the curve. You feel like you're doing something that other people aren't, which everybody's doing, which is a lot of people who are taking that morning and going. One of the things that I really like too, and I find this is a direct correlation to success in a way, is that the people who are getting up, especially when you go to like the gym's a great place to identify this, is when you're working out and you get up early. Like if you go to like a 5 a.m. class or like a 6 a.m. class, those people are just generally nicer people.
Yeah, I can see it.
And I think people don't bring that into account, but like I look at so many different factors when I'm doing things, as far as like things that are going to help me mentally, physically, emotionally, and like those things matter. Like when you go to the gym at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, like the etiquette's different.
Oh yeah.
People don't even train. People don't train the same way. People don't do the same things. Like I cannot tell you, there's a gym I go to that I take it away from my work as a strength coach. Like it's funny. People ask me like, why don't you work out in your gym that you train at? You train other people in, and it's like, because I'm training other people in here. This is work. Like, this is not my leisure time. And I don't look at my gym as leisure time unless I'm there by myself. But when I go to my own training gym, I go there, and if you go there for like between 5 a.m. to like 8:45, are the best human beings in the gym.
Yeah. Well, I feel like a lot of them might be retired at that point. A lot of retired folks love going in the morning.
They do.
But then you have that crowd that is what you're describing. Those people are just generally nicer. They're more disciplined.
Yes.
Typically more disciplined.
Or starting to create the discipline, right?
Yeah.
Like if I tell a lot of people too, like if you're starting to go to the gym and you haven't prior, like get up early to do it.
Yeah.
Don't go later. You can go anytime. To be very clear, go anytime if you're trying to get yourself back in shape. You're trying to create new habits and get your lifestyle in order. I don't care if you go at 10 o'clock at night. Go, like you got to do it. But specifically for someone who's like, I'm trying to take my next steps in like the next year and do something better for my life, like go early. Like definitely go early.
Yeah, I've always been a morning person, so that's been easy. It's almost like if I don't go in the morning, then I don't want to go, which is also a problem, but I still get it in because a lot of my classes are at night for training, so I have to go at night anyway. But yeah, I'm a morning person probably to the day I die.
Yes, sir. Did a lot of that stuff in the morning this weekend, but Halloween weekend.
Yeah, I saw you dancing on Michael Myers.
I was
going to tell you to bring it today, and we wear masks, but it probably wouldn't go well with the audio. So
Correct.
Couldn't do that.
I will bring that though for the next podcast, just because. Why not? It'll be a mask. It'll be
Special guest next podcast, by the way.
Special guest.
It's gonna be a fun one. New scenery too.
New scenery, new situation. I'm excited to have this guest.
That one's gonna be fun.
He's a good man.
He's got stories to tell.
He does have stories to tell about his situations he's been in, off the field, on the field. So we're excited for that guest.
But
how was your Halloween weekend?
It was good.
Where were you?
I didn't go. I couldn't. Well, I could have, but the situation was I was gonna go Saturday night down to school for Halloween weekend.
Okay.
However, Sunday morning at 8 o'clock, we had our competition training.
Okay.
And I have a competition this week on Sunday. So I couldn't miss that training. I had to be there for that. So it was, I could have either went down there for the night, probably not sleep, and then probably missed the training because odds are I wasn't going to make it. Or stay home and go to training. And I chose the latter, which I got no problems with. I guess it was another excuse not to go out, which I talked about prior, but
sure.
I want to win this weekend, so I wanted to be there, and it was great training. Like one of the best, some of the most fun I've had ever training.
Right. So decision-wise, you feel like you made the best decision you could have done.
Yeah, I mean,
I love that about you guys at this age. It's hilarious. It's so funny how organized and decisive, and also very by the book. You guys are, like, your generation, because like you made the right choice and you did the right thing and you had a great training, but like I would have loved for you to be able to do both.
I would have loved to do both too. You know, I just, there was
like
no way.
Like guys my age, we would have went to that. Like we would have 100% went to that, been definitely inebriated on the drive back, and we still would have went to practice and like did it. It wouldn't have been like 100% great. Like it wouldn't have been as good as yours.
No,
but like we potentially would have. We would have got it done, and then you. But that's where you like kind of look back at yourself, like in those times. And like I personally wasn't into that throughout my career. Like I wasn't into like really trying to do both. When it was in the season, like you got to do it. Like you got to roll, and you got to make sure you handle business, and that was what you're doing. It's a business, right? You go to the office, which is you going to Stray Dogs. That's the office, right? And that's your other job. And so we would have looked at it like another job, but we would have also looked at it like we work hard and play hard.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of guys too, which is like you then look at their careers in hindsight, and you would have said, man, like if you just like devoted more sober time or more of like higher level attention to this, you would have exceeded your expectations, and they still got to like high levels.
Yeah.
So like it's just funny to think about where you guys will never leave a stone unturned, and like I think a lot of people my age and beyond, like between like 28 to like 40, I know a lot more guys who are saying like I left things on the table. And your age group, I hear kids saying like, I'm not gonna leave anything on the table because like they already tell us not to.
Yeah.
So like, why would I even try to leave things on the table? Like, why would I not invest fully into this? But it's just funny the different psychological aspects of it. It's wild.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm just leave no stone unturned and get the best training possible.
Right.
And it's also, if there was competition training that Sunday and I wasn't competing next week, I would have went to the party probably and not went to training, because competition training is good, but if you're not opportunist though. Yeah, I'll have more opportunities to go to one if I'm competing, but since I'm competing, I treat it as like I'm in season. So I was going to do everything I can this week to get myself ready, and that's what I chose.
Now, did you do anything Saturday night?
No.
Okay.
I was supposed to go.
Oh, Saturday. Oh, I thought it was going to be Friday to then wake up Saturday morning to go.
No. So training was Sunday morning.
Got it. Understood.
So it was, and I was planning on going Saturday night.
Okay. Now, Friday, did you do anything?
What did I do Friday? I think I have short-term memory sometimes.
Okay.
I can't remember. What did I do Friday? I don't think I did anything. I might be blanking on something.
I don't know.
It was a long week last week.
It'll come to you.
It might come back to me, but I'm actually having trouble.
Well, so my question was going to be, why does Halloween do this to people?
Do what?
Like, so I'll give you an example. I was out on Halloween on Saturday night. I went to two and a half parties. And I feel like I'm in the minority, which is like, I think I'm in the minority for adults dressing up who are like, it's a children's holiday to me, and adults dressing up to be someone they're not. Like, I feel like I'm in the minority on that. I feel like I'm crazy.
For dressing up.
For me, yeah, I feel like I'm crazy that like I don't see dressing up on Halloween as like an important thing once you get past a certain age. Like, for people to dress up at like 30 is like crazy to me.
Oh, so you're on the side of not dressing up after a certain age.
Correct. Okay. Like, I feel like if you're dressing up at like 30 years old, like with a family and like a home and like things, real obligations, like, and it's not to say that these people can't have their fun. I just can't. I would want you to help me understand why you're dressing up at 30. Like, to be somebody you're not for one day.
Yeah, I could see the point. I mean,
I could see the point, but like,
I could see your point and I could see their point.
Correct.
I think if you have a family, you're gonna dress up if your kids want you to dress up. So I think
totally different circumstance.
Is definitely a different circumstance. But if you don't have kids and you're just, like 30, 31.
40. I saw 40, 50-year-olds dressing up. What are we doing?
Well, at that point, 40, 50, you definitely have kids of some
These
sort.
These people were just like out at the bar.
Oh.
These are like people out at the bar standing in lines. Like,
yeah. I mean,
just going out with like their older group of friends. Like, and listen, have fun. Do it. You get to live once, man. You get to live one time. You should enjoy your life the way you live it. I have no qualms with people existing the way they want to exist in that way, but like, I truly feel like I'm in the minority. Like, I felt like me looking at other people dressing up and like judging them, because I'm gonna judge you. Like, I'm gonna judge you for dressing up. The fact that I felt like, oh, like, why are you not dressed up? Like, why are you not trying to dress up today? And I was baffled at so many people. Dude, I'm telling you, there's a bar we go to that, it's a bar club that we go to, and it's one of the better spots. And when I tell you, and I know a lot of people in the nightlife scene, so like I can kind of get where I need to go without standing in any lines, anything like that. So that to me is a plus. So like, I'm thinking to myself, like, yeah, it's gonna be a pretty moderate line. There's a lot of people out here, but like, so it should be a fairly moderate line. Like, if we had to stand in line, it'd be like 15, 20 minutes. Had to. This line would have been at least 2 hours. There was about 400 people in this line to get into this bar. Now, luckily, I was able to get in no problem because I knew the guys up front, knew the people in the ownership. It was great. To think that this many people are trying to be in one place to wear a costume, which was insane to me. And why does Halloween do this to people?
It's just, I don't know. It's just tradition. I don't know. I don't think that much into it, to be honest. It's just, it's Halloween. It's get your candy, go to people, ring on doorbells, get your candy.
Yes, but if you were ringing on doorbells, getting candy with your children, that's different. Fine to me. We already established that as like the norm. Like, if I have a child, I gotta dress up for my child. They want to see your father or your mom dress up. That they're interested in that. Mm-hmm. You gotta roll with that. Like, it's kind of just like the rules. Yeah. If you have a child, dude, if you're 40 years old and you're outside in the city with kids. No kids here. No kids are here. You're here with like 18-year-olds, 20 to 25-year-olds. Like, and you're out there in the mix with the same people trying to get a Tito's and soda. Like, and it's packed. And you're wearing a pirate suit. Like, bruh. What are we doing?
I don't know.
It's just a thing. I don't know. It's just a thing.
I don't have the energy for it anymore to like question why people do some things in some senses. Like, if you want to dress up, have some fun. Sure. I feel like we do I think we're doing less of the questioning now, though, and I think we got to start doing more questioning. More questioning and what? Like, I question.
There's a few things I was talking about this weekend too. There's a few more things that we got to just like stop thinking that it's okay just for people to do.
I question a lot of things in my head. A lot of it I don't really like express or say to people. I question a lot, but like, people dressing up for Halloween is one thing that I don't really question it. Like, cool.
It's one of the things that I question, but I feel like we're that same sentiment of like certain things you don't ask. Like, I feel like we got to ask more questions. Like, I think we're not asking enough questions, and we're not asking enough questions. This is what I said this weekend. We're not asking enough questions. We're not also keeping things to ourselves a little bit. Like, I think I even said this to my girl the other day. I'm like, we got to do way more gatekeeping. Way more. There's too many people who have access to stuff that like they shouldn't have access to.
Yeah.
Like, I firmly believe that like, if you know how to do something that other people can't do, like, they should have to go and figure out the navigation to that spot. Like, you don't always have to give it to them, right? I like getting information, but like, it depends on the information you're giving out. You know what I mean? I think that there's some things that like you can give people game on, but like, if we reach 100,000 viewers and like, we're in a competition, right? Like, at the end of the day, we're competing with other podcasts. So like, I'm not trying to tell the other podcast how we got there.
Yeah,
like,
no.
why get on TV and why get on here and say to people, hey, this is exactly what you do? So then they can take our idea and run. Like, I want some more gatekeeping. Mm-hmm. We got to make sure, hey, if there's a move out there that, like, you learned in jiu-jitsu and, like, it's working everywhere you go.
Yeah.
You don't tell anybody about that move.
Yeah.
But people these days are like, yeah, like, here's a video on exactly how to do this move that I just did to you. Mm-hmm. And so you can now do it on me. I don't want to do any of that.
Yeah, that was like Keenan Cornelius, and I forget the time frame, but I want to say he was a purple belt in the black belt championships. And he created a new guard. It was called the Worm Guard that nobody's ever seen before. Mm-hmm. And he beat every single person just using that guard.
Yeah, and now it's out there.
And now it's out there because he put it out and kind of broke down what it is, and now everybody knows about it.
Now is he monetizing that?
Yeah, he absolutely did monetize it because he was one of the first people to create the instructionals on it.
Okay.
Instructionals are huge in jiu-jitsu nowadays. Like, everybody wants to create one. And he created the Worm Guard instructional, and I'm sure he got paid for it. But
I hope so.
Before that time,
I hope so.
He was the one that created it, and he beat everybody with it, and nobody knew what he was doing. And then until after people started figuring it out, then he put it out, the instructional. So yeah, I mean, I'm a believer in gatekeeping some things, but then on the flip side, you got the people.
$249.99.
Yep.
Keenan's Lapel Encyclopedia.
Yep.
That's what I'm talking. Like, that's what people need to start doing. Hey, if you want this, you got to buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
that's how it is.
I am sick and tired of people doing stuff. I actually had this guy who called me on Thursday. Really nice guy. We're going to do business together eventually. We've had some trouble in the past on trying to find the time to accommodate, but I have talked to this guy on several occasions, and I like what he's trying to do. And one of the things that he kind of can't understand fully is that it's very difficult to have things both ways in business. And one of the things I see as well is people want things for free, but then they also want to pay for certain things. Like, it all has to be, you can't have one or the other. Like, you can't have something that you want for free to also be paid for, and vice versa. So, like, that's not going to work. So, for example, he wanted some high-level production, right? I actually offered you up. And so it was a production for a basketball event that was going to get you 30 hours of work at a rate that we decided on. Mm-hmm. And so this gentleman said he already has somebody who could do highlight reel videos for a certain amount of money. Yeah. And less for this. And so he's looking for someone to do it for the kids. And so doing things for the kids is independent of people needing to be paid. Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I do a lot of things for the kids, but doesn't mean that I shouldn't get paid. I got lessons later to go do.
For the kids.
For the kids, right? But I'm not doing it to make $15,000 in a week, right? Like, that would be me not trying to do it for the kids, doing it for a financial gain. But everything we're trying to accomplish is for a financial gain eventually. Yeah. Like, you're not going through these jiu-jitsu practices and all the grueling efforts to then say, oh, I will do this for free. It's like, if you're good enough, you get paid to do it, right? You could do it for the love of the sport because you love doing it for the sport. You wouldn't be here if you didn't love doing it for the sport. Right. But you still got to get paid. Yeah. That's so those things, like, are independent, and, like, we also got to stop that too. Stop doing stuff for free. Right? Yeah. Things are not always for free, and you can't accomplish that. I did so many things for, dude, I calculated some of the stuff that I've done for free since like 2018, and I came up with the number of like 190 grand of stuff for free. Like, bro, that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
Free.
Yeah.
And I'll keep doing some stuff for free.
Yeah.
Because of trying to navigate rules, but like, and I think you're in a position now in your life right now where you can do things for free. Like, you can give up some time in dollar amount to be able to gain some either trust or a connection.
Yeah.
Or both, right? Usually it comes with both, right? Like if I know this guy's going to be here, even if he's not getting the financial gain he wants, like at least he'll be able to accomplish gaining the connection that he's looking for. And so.
Yeah, I have no problem doing stuff for free. But you know, it's all for the experience and what you got, what it entails and what you can get in the long run for it. So I'm sure, you know, the 190,000 that you missed out on still gave you a lot of things that you use now.
Yeah, it's supposed to get me something. It's supposed to get me something, which like maybe the long run hasn't even started. You know what I mean? Like the long run, that would be still considered short term for a lot of people. Or like if you're looking 2018, it's 5 years ago, which like seems like a long time in reality, but like it ain't really that long. Like
no.
And so if in another 5 years I don't see that, then I give up a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right? Like that was when I would say like by 2028, if I didn't get what I needed, like I'd be like, damn, like that's a lot of money I left on the table right there. I could have done an account executive job, or I could have done this, I could have done that. But yeah, when do you think, this is actually a really good question, when do you think your price is going to go up?
The fact that you prefaced it with, this is a really good question.
Yeah, because I want to hear your answer at your age.
When do I think my price goes up?
And what do you think for you dictates your price going up?
This is a loaded question. When do I think my price? When do I think my price goes up? I wish I could say when, but truly,
there's a time. You can make a time.
I guess I can, but a lot of it depends on which alley I end up going in life. Like, if I dedicate my entire being to being a jiu-jitsu practitioner and attempting to monetarily gain and make my living off of jiu-jitsu, then I would say like a decade that would take to be a high-level black belt, where I can monetize my moves and make instructionals and have a platform, because nobody's going to buy an instructional from a blue belt. That's just, you know, it's just the nature of the beast.
Sure.
So if I was doing that lane, then I would say probably a decade. If I were going, you know, computer science, I'm majoring in computer science, you know, there's software engineering, then I can monetize that in the next 2 to 3 years after I graduate. So I guess it would depend on which alley I go. And then there's this alley of podcasting. So, you know, this one could be tomorrow. This one could be a decade. We really don't. This one's the most uncertain, I would say.
So when do you hope to start having your price go up?
Dude, what the fuck?
It could be in all of the things you're doing, right? It doesn't have to be. You could pick a lane that kind of works for you as far as what time your price goes up. So I guess my question to you would be, take this avenue, for example, like, because you can, like I said, you can decide when your price goes. Like I just decided the other day that my price went up. And like, one of the things about it being the price is that it's yours. So like nobody can dispute that unless they want to dispute it, which like for me, now it's the amount of athletes. Like every time I get I'll tell you this way that I decide when my price goes up. So like for me specifically, like in baseball or in sports representation, for me it's if I get another athlete on board with more energy and effort that has to get put out, plus acquiring brand marketing assets for those athletes, my price goes up. For baseball, every kid that I get to college, every kid that plays varsity baseball, every kid that I get to go to a high level college league, any kid that I get who's in a draft league, that price goes up. So that happens continuously throughout a year. So like I could start at, you know, $100 an hour, but then if I get to $180 an hour, I can actually justify it.
Yeah.
And so, but nobody else needs to tell me that like, hey, I don't think your price needs to go up. It's like, well, no, it does. Like, and you have to either decide you want to pay that based off of the credentials or you don't. And so it's interesting, like, that's for you is like, what time do you think you're going to make that happen in your life? You know?
It's good.
Are you keeping track of things to make sure that you can do that? Because obviously jiu-jitsu, it's a really easy track to keep.
Yeah.
A really easy way to keep track of it. Like the higher the belt, the better you get. Like,
yeah.
You know?
That one's easy. That one's easy to keep track of. You know, the computer science is pretty easy. It's get your degree and do your projects and get your internships, and you'll most likely be set up with a pretty good job.
Yeah.
And then this podcasting is, again, the uncertain one. I mean, if I was, ideally speaking, if we did 100 episodes in the next year, I would hope that we're monetized at some point along the way there.
For sure.
So I guess a year with this consistently.
Right.
Some sort of monetization. Mm-hmm. And then as we keep growing, scale that up, like you said, and make our price larger. So I guess it'd be, my answer is 1 to 10 years.
Okay. Listen, that's fair.
But along the way, it's obviously build your skills in whichever way you go, and because these skills you'll always have. So I'm trying to build the skills that I have right now and continue to learn new skills so that I can boost my price and monetize myself when the time comes.
Speaking of skills, what was a skill that you think? What's a skill you wish you got when you were in your formative years that you would use now? Like you wish you learned prior to like being where you are today. Like I wish I learned financial. I wish I had financial literacy.
That's a good one.
When I was growing up.
Yeah.
Earlier, and I'm sure that and people told me like you got to save money, you got to do this, you got to do that, but like it wasn't as the intent didn't drive me to like go actually learn it until I got to like 22, 23 years old.
Yeah, I would say that's a good one. I would say communication, to be honest.
Okay.
Because, you know, people always told you to save money, build your wealth, do all that, be skilled in math, science, these other departments, be skilled in those ways. But I never heard anybody tell me to communicate more and build connections and be able to have conversations with people to get where you want to be and build those connections for the long term. So,
and how you do it, right? Like I think how you get to that level, because like I think there's a way you've already naturally built connections, which is either through the sports that you've played, being what would you call it, sought after in all the things that you were doing, whether it was, like I said, sports, having a ton of friends that were naturally given to you without trying, like as being a baseball player or being in a jiu-jitsu camp.
Yeah.
But then how do you do it outside of it to help build a career? So
yeah, and I mean, I feel like they don't really promote that as much, or I just didn't see it, which could have been the case because I was a little closed off, but I feel like I didn't see it as much as maybe developing those hard skills and math and all those financial literacy. Like I define those as hard skills, and we talked about the soft skills. But yeah, I didn't see it. I didn't see those soft skills being promoted as much as maybe they should be, or they could have been, or I could have learned earlier. So I would say communication.
What's one thing, I thought about this as well over the weekend, what's one thing that you think you have to unlearn from your parents?
I have to unlearn from my parents?
Yeah. What's one thing they told you in life that now you think you have to unlearn?
That's a tough one. I mean, that's a tough one.
It's a good one, right? I'll tell you mine.
Yeah,
my thing that I have to unlearn is that grades matter.
Okay. I think they do. I mean, I think they do matter.
I think that we've seen so many correlations of it not mattering. I think it matters if your metric is being able to pass something versus fail something. And how you get to results versus others, depending on what you're doing, will decide if someone may be better or worse than you, but it doesn't necessarily correlate to life. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you having A's in a math class doesn't get you here. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't necessarily get you here. It can help you with problem solving in some ways, but like, there's people who've got excellent problem solving skills and can get into a situation and get into a room and talk to someone and navigate that without being quote unquote like intelligent in like the school realm. And I've seen more of that, not only in my profession as a sports agent, but like I've seen that in just anybody who's been really successful. Like I know some people who are like, man, I've made $15 million in my career, and like school wasn't even like a factor in like my life. And so, but I've met more people like that than I did smart people who took like the, what would you call it, the not only generic, I wouldn't say, but like the route everyone has traveled. Like I went to college and I did the right thing. I had great grades. I graduated summa cum laude, and I went to law school, or I went and got my master's, and like maybe down the line, those people will be as successful as they want to be, but like so far, they're very much in the same spot as I am, or somewhere else, or lower. And so, I think I had to learn that like grades were not so important, but I think the process of like existing in a space with people, and how do you navigate that among your time?
Yeah.
Like I thought my college grades were going to be important. And like, I got friends who did it, like who were like locked in school, got everything they wanted, and now they got jobs that they don't love, and they're making way less than me, like way less. And they did the route. Like they said, okay, I'm gonna go and get a 5-year master's. I'm gonna go do all these things. I'm gonna do the internships, and like that still didn't correlate. You know what I mean? So like, what do you think you have to unlearn from your parents that like they hammered to you as a kid?
I mean, my mom always hammered going to college, and you know, so that's it's very similar to your answer. So I was trying to come up with something different, but
listen, you could expound on that though.
Yeah, I mean, it was always, you know, go to college and get your degree, and then figure out a career after that. And you know, I think high school, you should definitely graduate high school, but college nowadays is
it's recommended.
I would
it's definitely recommended.
You know, I would definitely recommend graduating high school, but after high school, I think the world is changing, and college is not so much the end all be all. You you touched on it with grades not being the end all be all. I feel you have the engineers, you have the STEM degrees that, you know, we need the engineers, we need those people. But if you're trying to be like an entrepreneur, or you're trying to run a business, maybe college isn't what you need. Maybe you need to find, I don't know, a mentor or someone to shadow that is doing what you want to do. Or
it's real life experience that you need more than anything. Because even those people who are, I would say, very by the book smart, where like you can look at information and decipher it easily and make sure that you pass at a high grade. Like those things are good. It doesn't necessarily make you do the job better though. And that's the part that I think is so fascinating when you go to places and when you talk to people that maybe you didn't expect to talk to. Like when I've been in offices with people that are, you know, $15-20 million up, and when you have those conversations with them, you think it's going to be something different. You think they're going to ask you about all the things that like led you to this point. Like, hey, why'd you get a C in this? Or here's what's your GPA. Why'd you get a GPA in? Like, what was your GPA going on? Why weren't your grades as good as they're supposed to be if you're in this position? And most of the time, they just ask you like, what do you want to do? And how are you with people? And like, how do you navigate a situation? What's your problem solving skills like? Can you like, if there's something that's catastrophic, if all these things didn't work, how would you still do the podcast? Like that is what they usually ask for, because they're not, like everybody can do a job. Like most of the time people can just do something that's easy. You know, there's so many jobs out here you could do remotely. That's why there's so many of them outside. You could pick a remote job right now, you probably get in a week.
Most likely. So I mean, that's my, I think there's so many more routes to go nowadays than going to college and still finding your success, you know. Like you can enter a trade, you can build your skills in a trade, make the money and put that money into a business you want to build, or do whatever you want to do. But yeah, I would say I'm in college, so I guess that's counteractive, because, you know, I'm going to college and I'm going to get my degree. So,
but it could be, what are you going there for, right? Because I know people who go to college for the social experience, right? The being able to dominate in a setting, right? Like for me, I would say that I did well in college by creating the connections and talking to people that were going to be valuable for me down the line. But like, as far as the school aspect, like the school aspect was the school aspect. Like it didn't drive me to become better because I got an A on this test. Like my set of skills didn't require me to get an A. Yeah. Right? It was information that I memorized and I learned. And it wasn't that I didn't know it and it didn't add certain criteria to my life now that I still use, right? Like there's some information that I got in school that's extremely valuable. And like I use it to this day. Mm-hmm. But most of the time it was the professors that I got a chance to be like off the record with and like learn something that was like more valuable in the space than it was like in the classroom. Yeah. And that to me was extremely helpful as I started to learn like, oh, these people are regular people that like were just really good with people. Mm-hmm. And they learned how to problem solve. And so I like that aspect of school for people. And that's what I tell a lot of kids for now. It's like, hey, if you're going to go to school, like make sure you're going for the right reasons that are going to help you down the, in the long run. If you're an engineering major, like most of that stuff is like problem solving, yeah. Right? You got to figure out how this bridge is not going to fall down, right? And how are we going to over-engineer this, right? And how are we going to overbuild and make sure that this thing stays the way it needs to stay? Or if you're in a kitchen, right? You go to culinary school. Everybody doesn't cook in culinary school, like most people, right? 90% of the people in there are going there for that reason. But now it's how can you manage the people around you, and how can you do things when the pressure's on? Yeah. And I think that we need more pressure. Another thing we need more of, we need more pressure on people.
Put more pressure on people?
I need more pressure. Like I need people to have more pressure. I think there's a lot of people just like very, they're very loose. The intent is very loose. Like I'm just kind of like moving around, mm-hmm. as opposed to like, here's an obligation that's like on my back. Yeah. Like there's not enough things on people's backs anymore.
So how do you put more pressure on people?
I think you need people in the office. I think you need people in the office. I think you need to heighten the level of, what's the word? Not intent always, but like what it means to a degree, like why this matters. There needs mm-hmm. to be more emphasis on why something matters. Okay. As opposed to, like I talk to people all the time who work remotely, and shout out to those people who work remotely because they are getting over on the people who work in an office. But that same thing that you're not getting in the office is what is giving people in the office a little bit more of a leg up. So like that lack of the lack of being noticed doesn't give you any pressure. Right? So like I talked to one of my friends the other day who's in an office, and he was telling me like, yeah, like last year I thought I was going to get a raise and I didn't get a raise. It's like, well, they don't see you, right? Like the people they see are getting raises because they can build a relationship. And now you have no pressure on you because like you being behind a computer doesn't give me like any reason to think you're doing better or worse than somebody. Yeah. Right? Like you can get things done because like you have all the time theoretically in the world. Because like in the office, the drawback is you get to talk to people, you can get sometimes distracted, and now that pressure that's on you starts to mount. And then you either are late on a deadline or you get it done, and whatever happens in between that time happens. But like I think that energy of like people being on top of you and having an obligation and a deadline is like, it's good for people. We don't have enough of that now. So things are just like kind of flying around. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the pressure on college athletes, at least in my experience, for going to school, going to all your classes, getting to practice, getting the lifts, mm-hmm. eating right and eating on time and getting on the bus at the right time, having all your equipment. There's a lot of pressure on college athletes, which is why I think they transfer so well into careers and building their own careers or doing what they want.
It's well said.
Because they just have that experience of being under so much pressure at all times, mm-hmm. knowing that if one thing goes wrong, you're going to either probably get benched or an earful from your coach. So, I mean, if you get...
Athletes transition into the workplace seamlessly.
Yeah.
In anything they do.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm actually surprised when I get athletes who are willing to work and they get rattled. Like,
Yeah.
it actually makes me kind of mad. Like, when you guys, like, when people who are young people who are in the workplace who've already been a high-level athlete get rattled. But I also can understand it because we're also not putting enough pressure on the best players or the best people, you know? So, like, for me, like, I'm all about putting pressure on the best players. Like, that's why you become the best player, is to have that pressure. It's not just to be, like, a part of the, like, one of the guys. You're not one of the guys. You've never been one of the guys.
Yeah.
One of the guys just gets kind of, like, treated the same. And everybody's at a baseline level. Like, if you're a dude or you're a dog and whatever you're doing, like, nah, bro, I'm treating you like a dog.
Yeah.
Like, I'm treating you like the kid who can handle being this person. And I think that is where sports is getting soft.
Where?
In all across the board. Like, I think that the player who's a dog, who is facing adversity, now shrinks because they can't deal with that. They don't want that pressure. They'd rather it be that I get treated like the best player, but, like, when there's pressure that mounts, I don't necessarily want that. So, like, I'm going to deviate this and I'm going to hand it off to somebody else.
That's so lame. That's so lame.
I think it's the lamest thing ever, and I think that kids need to start knowing when they're a dog at, like, 13, and need to start training like it. And need to start being that person. So, like, and I think that players now get this notion that someone doesn't like you because of them treating you as, like, the best player.
Yeah, that's soft.
Like, I try to treat every one of the best players like, and it's a constant game you have to keep playing too. Like, it's a psychological game. But if you can tell, like, for me, like, I feel like I shouldn't have to tell a kid or reassure a player every single time that, like, I think he's really good.
Yeah.
I don't need to do that. I don't like doing that to people. Like, if you're good at it, like, we know you're good. You should know you're good. Somebody needs to be telling you that you're good one or two times, like, every so often. And now I'm going to treat you like that guy. So then when you fail, I got to treat you like the guy whose expectations are up to the roof.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. I mean, if you at least are aware that you're above the average, and if you're not the best, you're one of the best, you're up there. You have to set a standard for yourself and understand that people are going to hold you to that. And crumbling under that pressure is pretty lame, because that's almost like the easy way out and quitting. So that's, don't quit on yourself, but embrace when people are hard on you, because usually that means you're better than a lot of the other people.
Right. Right. So this weekend I was watching some podcast, and my girl asked me if I wanted to watch a couple movies, and we were looking through some that we liked and some that we weren't. Then we got right back to our phones, and my question to you would be, are you and I used to not, like, it was so weird. I used to not struggle with long form content. Like, as a kid, I used to watch a lot of movies. And maybe it's the time, maybe it's the types of movies. I mean, I'm a big, like, 90s, early 2000s movie guy. Like, and those were when movies were built different, like, long. Yeah. Movies were like 2 hours long, 2 hours and 30 minutes long.
Are they not 2 hours long anymore?
Some of them are, but, like, and maybe the movies have always stayed the same for me, but, like, maybe I just haven't been watching them as much. But, like, I think there's a lot of different long form content now that I think I'm more interested in. But, like, there's a lot of movies that are similar to the ones I used to watch that, like, I still like, and I don't know why I can't watch them anymore. So do you think, like, long form content, like, from being on our phones is, like, taking us away? Because, like, for me personally right now, like, if there's a movie that's like an hour and 45 minutes long, I gotta, like, get guaranteed that this movie's gonna keep me in there from, like, minute 1 to, like, hour and 45.
Yeah.
Because as soon as I get, like, uninterested, I'm just like, all right. Like,
I'm out of here. Yeah, I mean, it's the TikTok generation. Like, I think we're all.
I ain't even on it.
It doesn't matter.
It really doesn't.
We're all,
it really doesn't.
It all finds a way, and I think we're all falling into that short-term, short-form content, and keep swiping for something new, because you'll get something that you like eventually for 10 seconds that you can watch instead of the hour and 45. I've been I've been on the short form content, and I'm trying to like get myself back into the long form and be able to watch long form. So I've been trying to watch things that are more drawn out and more of an experience. Like there was Mike Tyson posted something on YouTube the other day. It was like an hour long. What's your definition of long form, by the way? Is it an hour plus?
Give me an example, like a movie or a TV show, or
we'll go.
Like I think a long movie is like an hour and 55.
Okay, and then I mean, because it was more like I don't even know what you would call it. It was like a documentary part, like TV show part movie. It was like a merge of all. It was cool.
Yeah,
I sat through it in the hour and watched it, and didn't even. I don't think I checked my phone once. I was in it. So
I used to not, like, that's what I'm saying. Like I used to not do that. We used to go. I remember I used to go to the movies all the time. Like, and I think that the movies has a negative connotation because of the expense it is, but like it's a full experience, and like I missed that experience. And there's movies to go watch, but like I'm afraid that like if I go there, and maybe it might just be like a mental battle, like, but I'm afraid to go to the movie and like start looking at my phone. And being uninterested in it. Like I find myself like and it could be like how cozy like situations are sometimes. Like the movies are cozy now. And I found myself going to a movie and 30 minutes in, like I'm dozing off. And like I just was fine earlier. Like I don't know what it is. But like something about long form content now has like taken me away from the other long form content, or the short form content rather. Like I'd rather watch a podcast than a movie, but like I guess it's because just always ever changing topics and stuff.
Yeah, it's I think that's just the nature of what we're in right now.
Yeah,
and everything is a TikTok. Like everything can be condensed into 10 seconds, and then you get your dopamine hit and be on your way to the next one.
Yeah,
which is could. I wonder what the long-term effects are of that, like the short form content and being so what's the word for it? Being so like looking for that next dopamine hit of those 10 seconds that make you feel good, instead of enjoying those long forms, building up a story and then hitting that peak.
Yeah.
So I wonder what the effects could be, because I don't know.
Yeah. Like I don't know how long movies are going to last in like the generations below us. Like the kids who were like 12 to like 18, like I don't know what movies are going to look like.
Yeah.
And movies are better than ever right now in a lot of ways.
Are they really? Because I'm not a big movies person. I've never
movies and TV shows are, as my brother talks about all the time. He's like, from people that he reads he's like on Rotten Tomatoes, and he's read a lot of things on movies and shows. And he's like, we're in a golden age considered of like TV shows, of like how many high level shows are out right now. And I personally believe it. Like you could probably go to every person right now you may know probably has a show that like, and it won't be the same. Like there's at least 2 shows that people are watching, and like one of them's going to be different. It might be Ozark and it might be Breaking Bad. It might be Breaking Bad and it might be Peaky Blinders. Like somebody's on a show that they really, really like. So it's interesting. I was thinking about that this weekend, and so I'm trying to get into new things like that. Like I want to get back into movies. I want to get back into some shows, but it's also got to be compelling. And like if it's not compelling enough, then I'm out.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be good to keep your attention. So one of my favorite shows growing up, and I go back to it because all the shows are on YouTube, was Duck Dynasty. Did you ever watch that?
Duck Dynasty. I did not watch Duck Dynasty like that, but that was like a movement.
Duck
Dynasty was like a
movement. That's for sure.
Duck Dynasty was certainly a movement.
That was one of my favorite shows. Brings back good memories.
Yeah, I mean, one of the shows for me, especially, was the animated shows. The animated shows used to be like the ones like Fillmore on like a Saturday morning. Little Bill used to be lit. Yeah, there were some shows, man. Speaking of morning, top 3 breakfast foods.
Oh, top 3.
Had an unbelievable breakfast at Square 1682. It's a place in Center City. I'm not really into my breakfast being like so, what's the word? I don't necessarily want it to be so creative. I need it to be like to the point. I need my breakfast to be, I got steak and eggs, some potatoes, I got a yogurt parfait to start, like yogurt, honey, granola, strawberries and blueberries.
Yeah.
And then we got these pancakes on the side with some powdered sugar on it. It was unbelievable. Like, and you know when you just like, you know when it's your first meal and you know it's going to be like a banger? Like, that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Best meal I had this whole weekend.
I'm a huge breakfast person. I love breakfast.
I think guys are big on breakfast, to be honest.
I'm a breakfast guy, you know? If it's not, yeah, I just enjoy breakfast more, I think. It's probably because I'm a morning person, but, you know,
So do I.
I can go breakfast for dinner. I go breakfast for dinner a lot.
Really?
I love it.
So what's your breakfast for dinner?
It's usually French toast.
Okay.
I love French toast.
And you're making this French toast.
My mom makes us killer French toast.
Nice.
Yeah.
What's one thing you make better than your mom?
I probably nothing. So I actually wanted to talk about it.
Okay.
Because we talked about it with Brennan, who that episode didn't come out, but cooking.
Mm-hmm.
I want to start, because I don't really cook much. You know, I can cook to survive, but I would like to be able to cook to be like, you know, be a good cook.
I agree. You should.
So, like, you know, I don't need to know how to cook everything. Like, I would like to know how to cook a few different styles of steak.
Mm-hmm.
I can manage a breakfast if I had to. So, like, I can manage hash browns, French toast.
You need like 8 to 10 things. You need like 8 to 10 things you can make.
Yeah.
If you can make 8 to 10 things, you're in pretty good shape. Like steak, chicken, fish, which like you don't even got to do anything to the fish anymore. You just throw it in the air fryer. Like, it's not a lot of things that you have to do these days. Unless all it is really a seasoning situation. Some pasta, veggies,
Rice is nice and easy.
Rice. You're at like 8 things right there.
Yeah, So it doesn't have to be a lot, but I would like to know how to cook a mean steak. That's what I need to learn.
Listen, we can do a steak preview at your house or mine.
We have an episode of just cooking with the boys.
Listen, I would love a cooking show.
That would be phenomenal. We should do that.
I would absolutely invite a cooking show. Shout out to Action Bronson, one of my favorite cooking shows, one of my favorite human beings.
He's a great man.
That's like a bucket list guy.
He is a bucket list guy.
He's a bucket list guy for me to get on here.
Mm-hmm.
I've got millions of questions for him.
Yeah, he's.
And I've just followed his journey since I was, probably 14.
Yeah, he's
15 years old.
He's something. He's
He's
interesting.
truly a legend in the cooking space, but he's also just a legend in the human space. He's just one of those people that you see has just lived a ton of life, and I think he's probably been to every continent. I'm sure. Like, the guy's just a special human being. So, but that's where I got some of my love for cooking. On top of the fact that like I already knew how to cook. I've been cooking since I was like 9. So like for me, it's a release to cook. Like, when you get to come home and you have a chance to have your steak ready, you got your veggies, you got your potatoes that you make from scratch. Like, I do all that stuff. So like I'm into it.
Yeah.
Let's have a steak off. Let's go to your house. I'll get some steaks from a butcher.
Let's do
We'll
it.
go to a real butcher. We'll go get it right, not from behind the, at the shop right.
No,
and ask them to cut you a piece of steak. You go and get a real butcher to cut you a steak.
I was
nice thin New York strip.
I was on I forget what the name was, but it was a steak page who just makes all natural, like grass fed, all that. And I was just scrolling through. I hate that we're talking about this right now too, by the way, because I got like 8 pounds to cut before Sunday, and I'm a little hungry right now. So this really stinks for me, but we can keep going.
Give us an update, man. We need an update on the Instagram of your weight cut.
Oh, I mean, no, it's an easy weight cut. That's just a few sauna sessions. Pounding the water right now to get my water
What's
going.
your water intake and then your sauna session situation?
I go in the sauna for 15-minute intervals. It depends on the day. It depends if I train that day, but usually I'm looking at 2 to 3 sauna sessions. I'll drop a few pounds.
So 45 minutes. How much water?
Per day?
Yeah. On the day that you go in for 3 sessions, how much water are you drinking?
Oh, probably. Oh, well, I'm always in this thing. I don't know how much this is. Do you know how much this is?
I would say probably 24 to 32 ounces.
So I hit the sauna at night, which I don't know if that's good or bad. Okay. But probably we're looking at like 5 to 6 of those. which I don't know what that adds up to be, but it could be bad. That could be good.
170 ounces of water.
I don't know if that's a lot, but it feels like a lot.
170 ounces, at least a gallon and a half, 2 gallons.
Okay, maybe not that much. That seems like a lot. I feel like 5 would be the max out on a day for me here.
Okay.
If I'm cutting.
That's not bad.
So
then are you training those days where you go to the sauna?
Depends. This week's going to be a little different because we don't have class on Tuesday night, and Tuesday night is like our biggest night where I cut the most. Mm-hmm. It's the most training for the week, so I got to figure something. I'll probably hit the sauna a lot tomorrow.
Like a 4 or 5 time situation?
Yeah, I'll monitor. I'll see what I'm at tomorrow.
Sauna suits.
I've never tried it. I've heard it's okay.
Let's do it tomorrow.
I don't have one.
I have 2.
Oh, okay.
I can give you one.
Maybe. I'll try it. But, I mean, that's the sauna that I use.
It gets you, like, it's drenched. You get drenched out of it. I'm surprised you haven't tried it.
Yeah, because I got this little box that you just build up and you hop on in.
And you should come with me to my gym. Like, we have the real sauna. It gets up to 230 degrees.
Dude, the one I have gets you cooking too.
Yeah. I want to also try that one.
Yeah, you got to try it. But I might actually have to go to a different one because it burns my... Because I got metal right here, and it sits on it, and it, like, burns me.
I'll give you one of my suits. Let's do it tomorrow. What time are you going to
go? It'll be a late thing.
Okay.
Wait, what's tomorrow? Tuesday?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I got to figure it out. I just get down to the weight however I got to get down.
Correct.
So I'll make the weight, and then I'll go win on Sunday, and then let's go to Miami.
Yes. Correct. Got 3 weeks.
But that's the plan.
We got 19 days for Miami.
Something like that.
19 days.
Something like that. I'm excited. I don't know. I'm a little blanked out today. I'm a little out of it. I'm hungry. I'm tired.
Listen, we got to give the people what they want, though.
But I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna give you guys what I got. And this is what I got today.
Well, listen, I'm good. Good pod. Good.
See you guys on Wednesday. Fun one. And then I don't know what else we got planned. I know we got some other people.
We'll try to do some video inside the sauna as well if we get to do it.
Oh, yeah, we could do that. I got to try and get video for Sunday. I got to get someone to video. I know my brother will be there. I don't know if you're going.
Yeah, I'll go. I'll be there.
Someone grab a camera and watch me hopefully get some submissions.
Yes.
That's what I'm going for.
We can do that.
But
vlog it up. I'll get Taylor. I'll see if she's around.
Oh, whoever.
Shout out to
Don't matter to me.
And that was a puncher's chance.
Episode 13. Beautiful. Enjoy it. See you guys on the next one.